I started thinking that, okay, yeah, maybe marriage is not the be-all and end-all of life, and motherhood either. And of course, a lot unraveled after.
Especially as a woman at that time, there definitely wasn't any sort of following my passion for sport would lead me down a lucrative career path. You know, when the UK got certified and came back, I realized I was the only female instructor and there were 35 bodybuilders around me. I think the big change for my career is when I got picked up by Nike to become one of their brand ambassadors and Nike certified instructors.
The culture was very male dominated. This is how our community is basically. But my dad never had that mindset. Education was number one priority for me.
So I usually say there are 4 M's in a woman's life that hit her career. But there are 20 million women in India who have stopped working, and about 80% of them want to get back to work, but they don't know how.
Every event I used to go in 2022, I ended up explaining people what is FemTech because they didn't know what. Like they say FinTech, and I'm like, no, it's FemTech.
That's my big focus now. Okay, which is to get women to own their careers. Everybody in my company knows do not use the word women empowerment. So actually, if you think about it, women own 85% of purchase decision making.
Yeah, women finally are starting to feel like they belong in the sports field more than ever before.
Where the biggest gap is this professional networking for women. Yeah, and women are great at actually building a lot of personal networks, but they don't use those networks from a professional end.
If you start up for a Bollywood heroine, who would she be and why?
Very big fan of Priyanka Chopra.
If you could gift a woman a one-way ticket back to work, what would be like the 2-3 things she needs in her comeback kit? Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for braving Bangalore's traffic, waking up early, rise and shine. Thanks for being here and welcome to That One Idea, which is our podcast series that really unravels, like I would say, the backstories to starting up. I'm super excited. I know you're not supposed to pick favorites among guests, but I think season 4, I've been like super looking forward to this one. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would like to start with, like I said, we like to go all the way back to where things began for each of you. So maybe Neha, I'll start with you. If you could take us all the way to the beginning and tell us a little bit about where you were born and raised, and more importantly, who your role models were growing up. And if I can just add a different question also to like a 10 or 13-year-old Neha to today. What do you think, like any fundamentals in your worldview that have changed, like growing up and today as an adult?
Wow. Okay. Let me unravel that. So basically, I'm a complete Bombay girl.
Yeah.
Grew up in Bombay in a very joint Marwari family kind of setting, and my worldview actually at that time was very different from what it is today. Yeah, I mean, in my family had always seen the men as the breadwinners and the decision makers and the going out of the home and bringing in the dough kind of people, and the women as the caretakers and the loving mothers and
Emotional
amazing
support.
and just amazing at running homes and all of that, right? So gender roles are very, very clearly divided in my head, and I never even thought of questioning it frankly. Yeah, I just thought that's how it is.
Yeah.
It was actually only when I went to Penn to do my undergrad, I think halfway through my college experience, maybe even third year, I was having a chat with my American college roommate.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what are we going to do after we graduate and all of that. And I said, well, eventually, finally, it all depends on when I get married. So they were like, what do you mean? And I said, well, once I get married, then it will depend on whether my mother is okay with me working or not.
You distinctly remember saying that?
Because I distinctly remember the reaction.
Yeah.
And they were like, what did you just say? I was like, that's
very normal for you.
Yeah, that's just how it's happening. And I remember at that point, from that moment onwards, I started questioning it that actually maybe that's not how it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Till that moment, I never even thought of questioning it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was very comfortable with that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed to be working for everyone around me.
Yeah.
And from that day onwards, I started questioning it. And I started thinking that, okay, yeah, maybe marriage is not the be all and end all of life, and motherhood either. And of course, a lot unraveled after that.
Oh, fantastic. Swetha, I'm going to segue. I know your story is different, so yeah, I would love to contrast with yours.
So I grew up a very active child. I grew up in Bangalore, and all my holidays were spent in Cook, where we had to come up with ways to entertain ourselves, and it was always the outdoors, and we were always being active with 12 other cousins, most of whom were male, and we spent the day playing all sorts of sport. In school, I played sport as well. I played hockey for the state of Karnataka under 16, and sport was clearly my passion. My nuclear family had no sort of, there was no gender context to it, in that mom played all the roles that, the traditional roles of a dad, I suppose, in that, she was the active one, she was making the decision. So that was my sort of worldview. Although I saw the contrast when I stepped out, I suppose. Then, of course, I think with any person who is athletically inclined or inclined towards sport in this country, there comes a point where you have to make a decision whether you continue down that route or you take the academic route. 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 would choose the academic route because, especially as a woman at that time, there definitely wasn't any sort of hope that, following my passion for sport would lead me down a lucrative career path. So I went off to Canada, pursued an undergraduate degree in economics, continued to play recreationally, came back to India and started working with Ernst & Young for a couple of years. While that was a fun and great experience for me, it wasn't something I was passionate about, and I was dying to get back into sport and fitness somehow. And I finally made my way back by sort of being part of a team to set up a health club in Bangalore. So in the process of setting up the club, I decided to get certified as a personal trainer. A very, very interesting time because there were no other female instructors that I knew of. And when I went to the UK, got certified and came back, I realized I was the only female instructor, and there were 35 bodybuilders around me as being instructors. So I really had to find.
I want to look at that passport.
I have that out there. I will share it with you. Everyone's like flexing and there's this. But yeah, I think I sort of established myself over time. Functional training was becoming more and more coming to the forefront. And I think the big change for my career is when I got picked up by Nike to become one of their brand ambassadors and Nike certified instructors. And that sort of just changed things drastically.
Awesome. And Navneet, we've moved now from, women at work and careers to sports and fitness to now health. And I know FemTech is your passion. You also had a segue into it later on, but we'd love to know the backstory.
Sure. So I was born in typical Punjabi family in Punjab. So where I have seen two sides of the story, where my mom came from, very male dominated, women were like dominated. Education was not even a priority. And my mother had to fight for her education. That was not a privilege. Whereas my dad's side of family, women were gone to medical schools in those days. And they were independent, they were working. So, like, even if I look at my dad's buas and all that, they were actually professors in universities and all that. So, it was very clear for me that, there are two kind of life I saw and what I wanted to be. I just as I said, the culture was very male dominated. This is how our community is basically. But my dad never had that mindset. Education was number one priority for me. But I wasn't really good at academics, to be honest. I dropped out of medical school. I did it for 1 year because, looking at my family, everyone around, so they had higher expectations from me and my sister. Where my sister is super smart, she did everything to please my parents. And I was just
Are you the younger one?
I'm the older one.
Even harder.
Even harder. And when I dropped out from medical school, everyone's like, oh, she's looking up to you and why are you doing this? And I remember one of my auntie telling my mother, I don't think so she can reach that level of education. We can find some boy and get married to her and send her to US. That was the thing. And that's
the big hope, the big dream.
the big dream. Exactly. And I've seen that happening with my cousins and all that. You just done education, now find a good family and get married. And I think while growing up, I always was yes, I didn't had so many role models. The role models were really in front of me. The women I was just seeing, like my grandmother, my mother, and other people around me. And it was very clear that yes, my mom couldn't do this. And my mom also was like, if I couldn't do this, I want my daughters to do it. So it was just thing that I wanted to prove myself. And I also wanted to be different than what I've seen growing up. So it was just like, I think there was a passion to do something. I remember I dropped out of, I was 17 and a half when I left India. Everyone is against my father, don't send your daughter, because I was like, I wanted to explore outside of India. And that's where I went to Australia for my, business management, Griffith University. And I'm so glad I did that because I stayed in my uni campus with five different nationalities, and I could really value that people are. So my uni fees was paid and these people have come on loans and they're working hard. So I'm just like, this is my privilege, but I wanted to create better life for me. So I remember when I was coming back and I telling my father, I want to start business, and I just didn't know how to do it. So I think it was there back of my mind. Yes, I want to create the life for myself. Financial freedom was really, really important. And I think again, coming to women's health was again really personal, as in it was like women's health was not even discussed. And I think in our family, not just in our family, like I think everywhere, typically in India, the women are just looked up to when they are about to conceive or they just want to plan pregnancies. I think women's health is beyond that, right? Uh, and I've seen women actually forced to have children after marriage. So I think it was quite traumatized. I'm like, yes, if you are financially stable, it's very, very important to have that. You can decide, you can take decision about yourself, right? That you don't want to plan a baby, it's fine. You can find a supporting partner, right? So I'm so glad things are changing. And it really started with understanding my health, of course. Using the power of technology, I started educating a few of my friends in my circle. And then when I was just leaving my family business after COVID in 2022, and I was just like, I want to build something and which I can call it my own.
Yeah.
And it's time now because I've gained that enough experience, working in my family business, understanding everything. So I think it was very clear that I wanted to gain experience. So before I fail, I was also scared if I fail, next thing is
Yeah.
so it was just like
Yeah.
exactly. And I was just like, I need to do something. This is my time.
Yeah.
And my father was also like being very, very strict. So my parents live in US and my dad said decide India or US in 2016. I'm so glad I said I want to be
Come
in
back.
India because I saw India was growing market. So I think that's how it like really started as, as I said, financial freedom, understanding health, looking at women's health overall, and to create that community and the ecosystem that where we can bring conversations and also support companies who are building in the space.
Awesome. And Neha, she spoke about financial independence and freedom being like a core part of her why. And that is really what you're building at HerKey. And what drew you to building this professional career network and just enabling opportunity for women to, come to the workplace and then grow and thrive at the workplace?
So, Anjali, just taking off from where I left off, yeah, I graduated from Wharton and I decided that, okay, fine, yeah, I'm going to build my career.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should do that, and I kind of felt this, got sucked in with the whole entrepreneurship world right
Yeah.
after I graduated. And then, of course, typically, so I usually say there are four M's in a woman's life that hit her career. Yeah, and that first one is marriage. Sometimes in marriage comes mobility, where you relocate. There's motherhood is the biggest M, yeah, and then there's medical care for the elderlies or for yourself.
I
And
was
for
expecting menopause. Yeah.
like shush, there are like employers listening to this.
I think we're five now, right?
So with me, so when marriage hit, I moved from Bombay to Bangalore, and because of that, like my first baby, which was my first company, I had to shut it down because I couldn't keep that. It was a offline model, blah blah. But luckily, career just went on. So I joined the family business and with that, and then, but when motherhood hit, okay, that was the biggest pause ever. Because suddenly, all those generations of upbringing weighed down on me, and I realized that I had thought that, okay, if my mother and my mother-in-law had given up their entire lives for bringing me up, my husband up, and I wanted to do the same thing for my children.
Yeah.
And I stopped working with no plans of getting back. And it was that decision, those 3.5 years when I took a break in my career, when I realized how important it was to have that financial freedom. Because I used to make statements to my husband like, I can't believe I've gone from being a profit center to a cost center. Really, it was so difficult to think that, I'm not bringing in any dough anymore. Yeah, I'm only like writing out the checks, and I felt like responsible to somebody else for spending their money, right? There's a lot of financial freedom that you lose, and when you lose that freedom, you lose a lot of decision making power as well. Yeah, and finally, 3.5 years later, when I got back to work, I realized the difference it made to my psyche, my confidence. And it was only that change that I felt. It made me start questioning all the women around me. I became that really annoying friend to know. Why aren't you getting back to work? Why aren't you getting back to work? And then I realized how difficult it was to get back to work. Yeah. And then when I saw the numbers in India, there were, and of course, there aren't even enough gendered studies done. Right? So some of the numbers that I saw was that there were 20 million women in India who had stopped working, and about 80% of them want to get back to work, but they don't know how. Once I saw that, I was like, this is the creme de la creme of talent in our country. Yeah. And if we lose that talent, it's a huge loss to the economy. And of course, to families and society and the women. So on a lark, I said, okay, somebody should do something about it. And then why not me? And that's how it started.
Awesome. And I know, Swetha, at the back of the mind, you always wanted to do something with sports. Like that was your like life's calling and mission. And you spoke about how you started off at this fitness like center that folks were setting up. When did the Sisters in Sweat avatar come into fruition?
So Sisters in Sweat, I'd love to say, that we thought about this as an opportunity and we wanted to, but what it was really was a friend of mine wanted to learn football. And this was after I introduced her to my co-founder, Anjali. And she said, hey, I want to learn football. So I told my friend, listen, are you sure? Because this was a night out. Friend was a few drinks down. So but she actually texted me the next morning and said, hey, listen, when are we doing that football session? So I said, okay, let's bring a few friends together and we'll book out a ground next Sunday. We thought it was a one-off thing that we would do with a bunch of friends. So we did the football session. I took part of it, did the warm-up, then we took over, taught them some technical aspects of the game, and then we all tried to play for half an hour, leg swinging, no contact with the ball kind of situation, but a lot of fun. And then we did breakfast. And right after breakfast, everybody there was so happy and loved the morning. And they said, can we do this every weekend? So we said, let's do it every weekend. And we set up a WhatsApp group so that we could coordinate. But what ended up happening is everybody ended up adding one or two of their friends. And that WhatsApp group just kept growing and growing. I'm from Bangalore, so it's a fairly small city at the end of the day. You know most of the people, at least in your social circles. But what I noticed after, I think, 4 or 5 weeks of doing this every weekend is that there were girls coming in that I'd never seen before. At that moment, I was like, okay, so there is, we're doing something that people want, that these women want. And another sort of moment was we had reached the capacity of the WhatsApp group, which at the time was 250 odd women. That's really when I realized there was this huge gap because for me, I never hesitated, and for Tanvi as well, we never hesitated to go out and play with the boys. We didn't experience a lot of the barriers that we have face if they want to participate in sport. So having had this one morning session and seeing all these women come in and they tell us their stories and why this is so amazing for them in their lives. Right now, we realize, okay, this is a huge opportunity and a much needed thing to do. So that's when Sisters was born.
So that's like incredible. I mean, I know FemTech and women's health is much harder to solve for because of a lot of the stigma and the biases that you briefly touched upon. Do you feel right now where we are in this country, is it still a lot of noise and is it still like a lot of talk, but you're not seeing actual on-ground businesses scale and take off?
Yeah, I think absolutely. If I compare when we started in 2022, I remember I started doing my research in 2021, and I just didn't even know what FemTech is, to be honest. I was passionate about fitness. I started to understand my health, but I was like, yeah, I want to do something in that category. While doing research, that I'm like, yeah, this industry is growing. Like, wow, it was so much noise in globally, but in India it was very less. I think there were few companies who raised like few millions. There's another proactive for her was just opening, they raised 5 million. I'm like, there's a lot of momentum building now. I remember going to Kind Body in US. I'm like, wow, why we don't have something like that in India, right? So it just like historically the women's health has been underrepresented, underfunded for sure. Plus, there's a lot of stigma, as you rightly said. But I think now, if I look at it, there's so much has like built up. There are so much conversations are happening. Every event I used to go in 2022, I ended up explaining people what is FemTech because they didn't know what, like they say hey, FinTech, and I'm like, no, it's FemTech. So it was just like, and I think now
frustrate you that it's not beyond maternity. Like everything was around infertility and maternity, and it wasn't expanding. The conversation wasn't expanding beyond that.
I still feel it's not actually because I think women's health has so many health conditions.
Yeah.
Right. Like starts from puberty to menopause.
Yeah.
That their diabetes, women in diabetes, miscarriages, right? Like then you talk about when I define femtech, for me it's life sciences, biotech, medtech device. There's so much like wearables and all of that. But currently it's just focused on fertility, period tracking. Menopause has become such a hot topic, but what is happening actually? Like if we look at India, we have 400 million women in 2030 reaching menopause, and we don't even have a one solid company which got funding or they're building for it, right? So either something is in Ayurveda, which many people don't believe because it's not backed by science, and then we have something who's trying to build scientifically back, then the consultation and the subscription model is not scalable because in India it's not a subscription market, right? Like I would pay, people will pay in US for newsletter because yeah, they want to consume content. India, nobody wants to pay for it. So I think it's just the sooner you understand like what can be built for India, the category will scale because as of now, I feel most of the business models are what is existing in the West, and we are thinking, yeah, same thing can work for India. I'm always like, understand your consumer, what Indian women want, how much are they willing to pay, right? So that's a really important part of, and again, also going beyond just fertility, and it just still stuck for. I'm not saying it's sad, but I know if you look at funding also, I'm sure you're aware that most of the private equity funding has come into IVF and fertility.
But do you think that's because that's what women are willing to pay for?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I really feel like women need to start owning this, right? I mean, at the end of the day, they need to start making these decisions with their purses.
Yeah. So there are two reasons. I'll tell you the younger girls. Like when you're in the fertility age, you have a partner support, you have a family support.
So families are willing to pay for it.
Because we live in the culture in India.
Of course.
Child
For the next generation.
And you've not seen that, I'm guessing. Similarly, women want to pay for a career counseling service or a hand-holding service.
And that's something that we've been really, I mean, that's my big focus now, which is to get women to own their careers. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I don't really like, I mean, everybody in my company knows do not use the word women empowerment. Yeah, because I mean, women have to finally take, I think we have to own this now. And finally, like, why is there not
inputs versus outputs? In your case, for example, would somebody be willing finally today, here and now, as you said, to pay for, say, the best, like a hand-holding service or a career?
We are seeing that shift happen.
Rather than be like, hey, you get me a job and then I'll pay you like.
So of course, the bulk will be like that, and that will be a female and male mentality. Yeah. But so that's similar, and it's ungendered. Okay. But where the gender comes in is women actually investing in their learning. Okay, in their career development. Yeah, that kind of stuff. One, the problem is time. Yeah, because by the time your first shift gets over, your second shift is starting. Yeah, and so investing time itself is a huge problem. But more importantly, it's again this financial freedom question that he talked about. Yeah, first having the power to control that financial decision. So actually, if you think about it, women own 85% of purchase decision making, purchase decisions, right? So they actually have the control.
Yeah.
But we don't realize that that is actually the most important consumer market to
Yeah.
go after,
Exactly.
because they don't always own that control.
Yeah.
And that's why even when it comes to women's health, I feel like, and that's a very interesting thing that you said, that look, for fertility,
Yeah.
families are willing to pay.
I think menopause women are like, they are retired or they just very well settled. They reach
Yeah.
certain point in their life, they're willing to pay.
Right.
So younger women are struggling
Right.
because they have to pay for fitness, they want to do holidays, they want to focus on skin makeup.
No, no, exactly. And that's what we brought up
Somebody's
in
prioritizing holidays over finding a job
Or-
or getting fit. It's a
Or
problem
we always used to
together.
joke that you'll be willing to pay for like a new outfit for the
Yeah.
interview, but
Yeah.
not for the interview training.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Even for HPV vaccine, they're like younger, they don't want to spend, but they can spend for a holiday. Like, I just don't need it. So
Yeah.
there's an
Yeah.
education and awareness gap too, right? Like,
And that is shifting though.
yeah.
That's changing because more and more companies that are coming up, which
Yeah.
are targeting women as consumers,
Yeah.
right? They are automatically creating that awareness and that change in women.
Yeah.
Shweta, is your archetype slightly different? Do you see like an inherent love for sports? Or do you see a lot of folks like newcomers coming in, especially given pickleball and sports that are now like easier to play in the city?
So I think women finally are starting to feel like they belong in the sports field more than ever before. I mean, growing up in school, even I remember like most girls during PE period were hiding, staying away from. But today I find like they're realizing this is their space too, and they're reclaiming it, and they're coming back, with this with an excitement to sort of reconnect with their childhood because that's what happens when you play, right? You're running free. So yeah, I think that the feeling today is more of I belong here too, and I'm going to make the most of being here, and this is my time and this is my space.
And what about that payability for
Yeah.
you? Did you all have to navigate subscriptions? Was
Yes.
it pay as you go, pay per
Yes.
use?
So we have both right now,
Yeah.
Sisters and Sweat. It's pay per class as well as subscription. What we've realized is the pay per class is far better because people don't want to commit. And finally, when they do end up committing, a lot of them realize that sport and wellness is actually right at the bottom of their priority list. Still, we're trying to sort of bump it up, and usually once they start playing and start reconnecting with themselves in that way, it starts to move up.
Yeah.
But what ends up happening is somebody starts playing with us, she's having a great time, but then something comes up where it's higher up on the priority. Or like, she gets pregnant and then she's gone, right? And we never see her again, right? But yeah, I think in general, the paper class model is one she's more comfortable with. But it's really healthy to see that a lot more women are coming back.
And we also see them in person on the turf compared to like an online or a hybrid model. And how core has that community piece been in retaining them and getting them to commit to that sport? Like, is it a key part of who I'm playing with, who I'm meeting every weekend?
It's everything. The community piece is the most important part, especially when it comes to women playing recreational sport. I mean, they come in, everyone comes in to play the sport. You assume that's what they're there for. But when you ask them, what do you like about being here? It's about connecting with their friends. It's about that 1 hour of me time. It has very little to do.
How did you go about building it at this scale? I know the origins, and I'm a member and a huge fan, but it's been incredible how you've sustained that across like now multiple cities, multiple sports, individual versus team sport. But you've come up with these product nuances like the run in the park, for example, which is now like a group of folks and it's like run with Swetha. But like, how do you like stay on top of it? How do you continuously keep coming up with these loops for engagement that make it hard for people to drop off?
Yeah, I mean, we've kept our ear very close to the ground. We're always talking to our consumers. I'm on 100 and odd WhatsApp groups, Sisters and Sweat WhatsApp groups. I try to be as accessible to the community because I want to hear, and everybody in the team. The goal is, to not just to make sure the session is happening, but that they're understanding what the women want. So whilst we started with football, we ended up doing different sports because somebody who was playing football said, "Hey, can we try basketball?" Or somebody WhatsApped me and said, "Can we try basketball?" And we started like that. I mean, of course, it was a much larger sample size and stuff like that, but we were constantly listening to what the women wanted and then sort of trying to deliver or provide that.
By the way, Anjali, I think
Yeah.
that's what's changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
like what she said, that people are now listening. These companies are
Yeah.
listening to what women want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have also not
Yeah.
really built, like we have,
Yeah.
like we've always had men building for men
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
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 Now, when you're seeing women building,
Yeah.
okay, women are listening to what women want,
Yeah.
and then they're also thinking about the communication that will work to
Well,
women. How do you
exactly,
market to
yeah,
women? How do you sell to women?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's all pretty much
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
fancy.
Are you seeing community building change for you, and that's changed
Very much, and that's the reason. In fact, we did the big
The
shift from
digital
Jobs for
yeah.
Her to HerKey.
Yeah.
Because over the years of running Jobs for Her, we realized that yes, the job is very important. It will always be important. Yeah, it's never going away. But what's actually much more important, and where the biggest gap is this professional networking for women. Yeah, and women are great at actually building a lot of personal networks.
Yeah.
Frankly, they're amazing networkers, even though
they are naturally amazing networking.
Like that, women think that they're not good at networking,
Yeah.
but they're bloody good at networking, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones who are
Naturally,
they're in touch with their school friends and college friends and building friends and friends, parents and parents' friends, kids, and all of that.
Yeah.
But they don't use those networks from a professional angle. And because again, if you look
Why
at
does that behavior change?
because-
Have you figured like
because
what
it's
happens
professional-
at the workplace?
because the thing is that professional networking is also built by men. for
Men,
men.
yeah.
Like think about professional network, right? Like it happens, in the men's restroom. It happens on the golf carts. It happens on the golf courses. It happens in bars in the evening. That's when men network. None of these work for women. Now, technology is actually a great equalizer for that. Because you can network using technology at your time when the whole house has gone to sleep, for example. Or like, for example, like companies have realized that they need to do more breakfast clubs instead of evening drinks. So we have to change the rules of the game. And only if we do that, then through those networks, our thesis is that through those networks, we can get women to find the employers that they need, they can find the experts they need, and then they can find each other.
So do you believe that it's only women we are holding ourselves back, and it's now today where we are, it's less of the environment, it's more us holding ourselves
No, it's
back?
both, right? Because first of all, the environment was not built for women to succeed in their careers. So both had to change at the same time. So but women have to be part of that change. Okay, so we also have to be the creators for that. So for us, like her avatar, is a candidate who's looking for a job. Is a consumer who's demanding what she needs to be good at that, and is also the creator.
Has this evolved in the
Oh.
last 5-6 years itself? Have you already seen your archetype evolve?
No, hugely.
Okay.
When we started 10 years ago to where we are today, I mean, the kind of agency that we're seeing women take is incredible.
Wow. Have you seen that change as well, or are you still feeling that women are mostly around a certain set of things? I think with healthcare, what we always see, it's a very point in time, right? It's very symptomatic. So you go and solve for a particular symptom and come back. To get the mindset to shift to more continuous preventative stuff has always been the challenge to bridge in healthcare. Is that something you see? People come when there is a problem rather than looking at it as more like a holistic part of your day to day.
Yeah, I think that's the still challenge in women's health because, preventive care was not something we prioritized before, right? And it's very difficult for even company to sustain and keep that consistency. So they come once if there is a problem, and once the problem gets solved, and they don't come back. Like if you're going for fitness class, you're kind of getting experience, you meeting people. So healthcare is driven by a lot of care, empathy, right? And it's very, very sensitive. So you need to treat people with a lot of care and empathy and a lot of it's just so much to give, right? So I think the gap is people to understand that, how important is preventive care. And I think that's what FemTech and women's health companies are trying to bridge that gap and create more awareness. I think I still feel not just in tier 2, 3 cities, even in the tier 1 cities, women just not aware about health at all. You're probably going to gym every day, you're working, but you don't know what's going in your body. As simple as so many women have deficiencies, right? They never do proper tests, what is missing in my body, and then you're just killing yourself every day, doing yoga, doing other things, right? So it's just that you will only know when you're doing preventive steps, you know.
I know you published a report recently, and I was
Yes.
going through this in the run up to this. What were some of the things that even surprised you? When, like, I know taking supplements, for example,
Right.
is a big thing that most women are not aware of iron supplements or B12
Right.
supplements, etc. But what were some of the aspects of that report that surprised you?
So I think I'm very surprised that women in tier 2, 3 cities are
Yeah.
actively want to, access these services.
Yeah.
They're willing to pay. And we don't have infrastructure because many companies don't want to go to small towns and build something. And the surprisingly, women are there. They're willing to pay, but they don't have an access. So I think we need to create that access for everyone. So no matter where women is sitting, even in finance, fitness, or whatever, I think that's where I see India heading in next 5 years.
Yeah.
That no matter where you are, you have access to everything. And I think that's important. That will change your mindset, spending power. Like I always say, women are not consumer, we are investors. Every woman is investor because we are literally driving economies, right? And women hold majority of the decision making power in household. Even for when it comes to health, it's sad that she has to involve her partner. Because and actually, surprisingly, so many companies who are working with founders I work with, they told me that so many women say, "Oh, I have to ask my husband." Like they have to take permission. Even she's spending her, it's like second opinions always added.
This is so funny because I remember in the gym that I work at, the husband would come with the wife to sign her up. Please, okay, I'd like to get her on that. and they would tell me what they want.
Oh my God!
Like she's put on weight in the last few years. It was awful. It was awful. And she would be mute, just sitting there, and, like listening to her husband.
Yeah, this has to change.
This, I mean, and it has changed to a large extent. Like I was always like.
I'm sure you're seeing little to probably none of partners taking decisions on behalf of.
But it was so funny. So one of our first large scale events that we held, and that time it was called Restart Her. Okay, and it's moved to Horizon now. But at Restart Her, I remember the first time when we had this event, and some of the women did come with their husbands, and we got the husbands to wait outside.
You're not going to check out like therapies.
I worked with fertility clinics also, and we've done like egg freezing. We called it parties because we wanted to
nice. See that's a nice
normalize it.
Normalize it.
Very good.
And it was such a big success because we had, you won't believe, our first event has 35 women signed up. It was so unexpected that there were women from all different backgrounds.
Awesome.
Some of them came with their mothers also, younger girls. And after that session, I had an embryologist who explained what is egg freezing process looks like, what is AMH test, why someone needs to get it and all of that. And next day, so I told this embryologist, I said, my idea is to make awareness about these girls and you have to offer this test on 50% discount. And she said, I will do that. And I said, if anyone do come for egg freezing, we do 20% discount. And she agreed. And actually, you won't believe, out of 35, 18 girls booked the fertility assessment next day.
Wow.
And out of that, 4 of them ended up getting eggs. So imagine just one group of session, just educating women can create. And I think that just many people don't understand. And I feel like 80%, they are convinced because when they're educated. So,
but I think that's this offline to online model is very important. And I feel
you can't
that
beyond the big cities, are you seeing that change? Like beyond the top 10? That more women are keen to come back, keen to work, or even just shift and find better.
No, so we are actually now, we are recently expanding outside the tier 1 cities. And we had a host of events in 6 tier 2 cities. And took Horizon, a smaller version of it, to these different cities. And we had a lot of interesting findings. It is very different.
And these are all around career conferences.
Exactly. And again, for us, it's all career right? So one from a company.
Can you name some of these cities?
So we did Cochin, Coimbatore, Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Jaipur, Indore. And my team went, from city to city. And like one, from a jobs point of view, that was a problem. To get enough jobs in these cities was a challenge. 2, from an attendance point of view, we started running into some trouble. Okay, we had lots of women registering online, but they were not showing up. So we started calling them up.
Okay.
And some of them told us, actually, my family is not comfortable with the fact that it's in a hotel.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And for my team, we were just like,
Yeah.
oh, what?
Yeah.
And I mean, imagine we are
Yeah.
spending big bucks
Yeah.
in these
Yeah.
hotels.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay.
So interesting.
And then, though, the women who did show up, the hunger and the drive and the passion that they had, like we've never seen so many women asking so many questions, right? Like raising their hands and asking questions like, how do I convince my family for me to be able to start work? Yeah. So we are still there.
Yeah.
And these are the questions that we I thought we were over.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because I've really seen the change happening in tier one.
Yeah.
Like when I
Yeah.
started versus where we are today,
Yeah.
I'm not seeing those questions being asked
Yeah.
anymore. But that is now still happening in tier
Yeah.
two. Yeah. So it's actually quite interesting to see. And frankly, like we need them to, like you're saying, the hunger is there.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
motivation is there.
Yeah. And do you think some of this can be solved through remote jobs and even online?
Of course. And that's
So
what
it's
we
clearly a demand and not a supply issue. These women definitely
for sure.
are seeking out
Oh,
the
yeah.
opportunity. You just have to match them.
And
to
by the
the
way, it's
right-
not even an education issue. So
Yeah.
70% of women migrate to another city after they get married.
Mm.
So there are lots of like highly educated women also who have
Coming in,
migrated to
yeah.
smaller cities. So
Yeah.
and so remote jobs is one great
Yeah.
way. But much more importantly, it's a creator part that we talked about.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think fostering entrepreneurship
Yeah.
amongst these women is a great way as well.
That's a great question. Do you think we're better off as entrepreneurs? Just given the do you think it's easier for women rather than joining like mainstream corporate jobs? Do you just think innately we're better off as micro entrepreneurs also? It doesn't matter. But in what I'm saying is like it's just allows us to control like the external factors at least. And just given socio-economic dynamics.
Oh my God, I will never think it's better to be a founder than
Do you get a lot of people asking you how to start their own
Oh yes,
business?
of
Is
course.
that a large
Of course.
part?
And we really push.
Okay.
Yeah. Because frankly, at the end of the day, there are not going to be enough jobs
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
number of educated talent pool
Yeah.
that we have in India.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if we want to really contribute to India's economy,
Yeah.
we definitely want
Yeah, of
and
course.
we need more female
Yeah.
founders
Yeah.
out there who
Yeah.
will also, by the way, build for women
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. So, no,
Yeah.
we really want them.
Yeah.
The big problem over here is again the reason for becoming an entrepreneur cannot be I want flexibility in my work.
Yeah.
Because frankly, you ask any
Yeah.
female founder, it's
Yes.
anything but.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
burning the candles
Yeah.
on all ends.
Yeah.
But there are so many problems that need solving.
Yeah.
Okay, that we actually need women to be at the helm of solving those problems.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of inbound like requests to have like different centers across at scale? Do you see a lot of
Yes.
women in the community can ideally branch off and you can have like an entire network of smaller outfits across?
In terms of like the sessions themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Like you end up training and you create, let's say, SIS certified trainers or running their own communities.
I
SIS communities like franchise communities in smaller towns.
I think that's huge opportunities, and that's something we can definitely look to do. I think one problem here right now. I mean, not one problem. One of the things that we do
Yeah.
anyways is we identify women in the community already who
Yeah.
are champions for
Yeah.
what we're doing, and we call them sport champions. We
Yeah.
elevate them, and they usually are able to rally up their own little group.
Yeah.
And become sort of the face of that
Yeah.
particular group for SIS.
Are these part-time roles or these are full-time roles?
These are not even part
Like
of
ambassadors.
Wow.
ambassadors.
Amazing.
They just
Yeah.
representing
Wow.
baby, right?
And just to sort of recognize
Yeah.
them and say, okay, you're the sports champion for this.
Yeah. I'm pretty
particular-
sure a lot of them would want to do it full-time if they could.
Absolutely.
Because it is absolute passion and they're doing
Absolutely.
this.
I think if I were to offer to them full time, and
Yeah,
say, okay,
they'll
something
take it
out
up,
that
yeah.
they'll take it. But yeah, I think it's just to elevate them within
Yeah.
the community, recognize them, and then have them be the flag bearers with
Yeah.
sisters and such. Yeah, I think.
Awesome. I'm going to take a rapid-fire break now.
Of course.
And again, get like some just to like change and switch the momentum up a little, and we'll go in any order. Some of these questions maybe to all of you, but we have put together like a fun, if this then that, back in the day versus today
Yes.
type questions, and like I said, some are pointed to each of you. Some, all of you can answer. So, Neha, since you're
Great. Light a fire.
Okay, this is personal to you. So, what's the one thing you consume way more than you should?
Oh my God, WhatsApp.
That's a good one, yeah. Same. No screen time restrictions.
I really need
3 hours a day.
screen time.
Yeah.
I like technology, like
Yeah.
devices.
Like,
Yeah, she had two phones. She wanted
I think screen time is an issue
Screen
here.
time is an
yeah.
issue.
Yeah. My son recently asked me why only he has screen time restrictions and not like me. And I try to give one of these, but this is work. But I actually, yeah. So he's like, what kind of an excuse is that? Yeah. So, awesome. Okay. This one's my personal favorite. If you start up for a Bollywood heroine, who would she be and why? We'll go reverse this time.
Yeah, I think I'm like a very big fan of Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
She's like bold and she has a loud voice. I think that's what we need for women's health.
Yeah.
Like now to empower more women.
I hope she's listening and
Yeah.
we'll see a collab soon. Yeah.
No, I have to apologize because I don't know. So I don't know who. I mean, anybody who's sort of playful,
Yeah.
full of energy. That's somebody I identify with.
Give me a Chakde. You have to watch Chakde. You must watch Chakde. And Dangal. And Dangal too. Yes.
Do you have a like a global actress or any celeb?
You're not a
Female
film person
celeb.
only.
I love Hollywood. I watch Hollywood, but I'm just sort of
Maybe
doing
athlete.
pop right now. An athlete.
Yeah. Jennifer Garner, no?
Sure.
I can see my life work. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like for me, actually, it would be Deepika Padukone from Chapak. Yeah, and we actually had Lakshmi Agarwal, who she played.
Yeah.
We had her come and speak at one of our events.
Yeah.
Who was the acid attack victim, and it was one of the most inspirational stories I've seen. And I think that's a comeback story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bloody amazing comeback story.
I think another great thing is how our own Bollywood heroines are becoming producers, Priyanka
Yes.
also, and picking up stories like
Yeah.
this, which otherwise, like male producers would never pick up,
Because
and
it's
would
big
never
on
make
niche
the
audience.
big screen at all. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even that's like nice to see. Awesome. The one category women should be spending on more, but don't. I think that's the easy one.
That's a
Okay.
plug-in.
I would also say mentorship because that's very underrated. Many people think I don't need a mentor. I think it's just the investment. Get someone who can motivate you to help you get there where you want.
I think that's exactly.
Yeah.
You're also seeing that women are not investing in learning, upskilling, and staying
Networking, mentoring, all of
relevant.
that.
Yeah.
Actually, I can say networking and it will work for all of us.
Yeah. A fitness or a health myth or a career myth that needs busting.
Too many of them. This is concerned I can go on. We can start with, carbs are bad for you.
Yeah.
You need to do just cardio.
Lifting weights will bulk
Lifting
you up.
weights will bulk you up. Like,
Yeah. No, I had that myth, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
Which means
oh my
you
God, for the
yourself-
longest time, again at Penn, I
Yeah.
went to the gym and they wanted me to do weights and I was like, I don't want to look like a guy. And I didn't do it. I actually, I didn't like lift a single weight like, after I got married.
I mean, to this day, that is the number one question that or apprehension from women when they come to the gym. I don't want to look like that.
Exactly.
And I'm like, sister, it takes so long.
Yeah. And that's what she told me. She was like, I don't think it.
I mean, I saw your Arnold Schwarzenegger one. Really, a lot of supplements and yeah.
Yeah. No, now I think I have some biceps and I like them. I like them. No,
Any career myths to bust?
yeah, mine is going to be like assuming that only certain jobs are jobs for her. Yeah, every freaking job is a job for her.
Even is I always say flexibility is also like a myth.
Yeah, that every woman wants flexibility.
Yeah.
And what does flexibility mean? And
Changes, yeah. Any health myths?
Yeah, I think women's health is beyond pregnancy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. If this is, I'll start with Neha since comeback is a large part for you. If you could gift a woman a one-way ticket back to work, what would be like the 2-3 things she needs in her comeback kit?
How cool.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting question.
Maybe you should actually have comeback kit.
Okay, first and foremost, it would be a fabulous mentor, like a mentor / guide / coach, who's kind of helping her in that journey.
Yeah.
Second would be a great support system. And that support system doesn't only have to be her family. By the way, she can create her own support system. And third, of course, it would be the right employer who's not asking her, oh, are you really serious about your career? And if you've had one child, when are you going to have a second child?
Yeah. Coming back to fitness and health, I know you can always come back anytime, but what should be in somebody's comeback kit?
I would sort of mirror one of the things that you said was the support system, because what we find is that when women want to get into their or get on to their fitness journey beyond a certain period in their life, she's got multiple responsibilities, especially around the household. So we need a support system where there is time for her to step out and sort of play or or train whatever she needs to do. That support system is key. Knowledge and information, so somebody who can guide you in the right way, whether that be a personal trainer or whatever it is. So because there's so much noise right now, lift weights, don't lift weights, do cardio, don't do cardio. So I think
Is fear of injury something you get a lot?
Not with the sisters in Swetha who are fearless. For some reason I have to slow them down.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens once you get on the field, you just sort of lose all inhibition, you lose all sense of, keep yourself safe.
That is so awesome to know.
But before they get onto the field, that's huge. A lot of girls don't want to play sport because they're scared they'll get injured. And to be quite honest, it's a very valid fear because sport and injury, it's quite...
And because that opportunity cost that you spoke about, because you have so many other priorities that if I get injured and I'm like off, I'm going to lose 6 months, I'm going to lose 8 months.
Huge one. I mean, girls come to me all the time and say, I don't play right now, I have this coming up, I can't afford to injure myself. And like I said, to some extent it's valid, which is why, in our sessions, they're so sort of mindfully curated to make sure that there's good warm-up. Even the playtime is very good too, because that's where most of the injuries happen. So I'm happy to say that for a sporting community, we had very, very little.
That's awesome.
Injuries, but they had that's for sure. But I would say
the investor in me is going like in your MIS, you'll have like how many MIS if you have NBA here, you'll have like injury rate. That's like the key metric. Saying like low injury rate. Navneet, that's segue to you since we spoke about tier 2. If a 13-year-old girl in tier 2 India listens to this podcast, say 10 years from today, do you think what would she be shocked or surprised that we're even discussing?
Shocked and surprised what we are discussing.
Maybe she's already attended one of your egg freezing parties and she's like, why are they still discussing it like it's not like a done deal?
If we are still like discussing, you're saying in
10 years, she's listening to this and she's like, why are they discussing this?
Still I think it would be like health for sure. Like I think I see like 10 years we need to be there. Second, of course, financial freedom. Right. And third, I think the ecosystem and a lot of support system that I don't think so. 10 years later, women, like nobody should be asking them, hey, you're a women founder and why you're not able to. I think I always say that gender should not stop anyone and be super confident and invest in your network and build that support system. And there are so many opportunities now. And I think in 10 years, we will have a lot more because we have women like you in decision-making power. And I think there's so much will change, right?
One thing that you don't like being asked, like you're sick of being asked. She mentioned like the whole female founder thing.
No, for me it's always been like, do you lift weights? Like, is it? It always comes back to you lift heavy. You don't look like you lift heavy.
I think for me it's always like, oh, is this for a niche audience? Because 50% of the population is a niche audience.
Did you have trouble when you were like in your fundraising journey? Do you get asked a lot how many women really play sport?
My fundraising journey was an interesting one. I didn't have to make conversations. I met with the one fund that eventually, and they were a very about funds. That question was not asked. But sorry, what exactly was the question again?
In terms of your fundraising journey, have there been any myths to bust? But clearly not. You're saying that you got lucky. And
I was very, very fortunate.
That's interesting. That's good. And more power to investors like that.
Oh my God. I can't believe it.
I think they
like
have that,
right? This is a rarity. I'm thinking a separate podcast with Swetha on how was this journey so easy.
The kind of
seamless and
you never got the niche and please put a market size to how many sports people
absolutely
play.
Not. Didn't have to do any of that. I had to tell my story, talk about my vision, and that was it.
Wow.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Wow, that is the dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping will happen
Yeah.
10 years later.
Yeah, but she didn't, like she said, she got lucky with like amongst your first few pitches was the folks who actually invested. Yeah.
We were never looking for funding because
it was in-house.
Very organically.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That is something for many founders, male or female, that is the dream. Yeah. Awesome. One, it's more like a whimsical question. One women-led product that should exist, but today sounds ridiculous on paper.
Saw this one.
It has to be women-led only, or
No, a product for women.
A product for women. A product for women that you think should exist. But it's too like ridiculous to be true today.
Oh, I have one. Yeah, I mean a car where there's a place to keep your bag.
Yeah.
Oh, and my husband and my son, they're always like, we don't want your bag.
I remember my getting in the passenger seat, my mom's bag just kept flying off.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I think I would say maybe something like a reward program. So, like I'm spending my fitness, I'm spending to salon, I'm getting my coffee, and there should be something that gives me reward back. I don't know, this could be business idea too. Like,
I want to be rewarded to spend on
exactly.
your services.
Yeah, and then we can encourage more women to spend on health, like fitness. We're like, I'm rewarded somehow. You know what I mean?
I will reward them for sure on HerKey. It's coming soon. I will reward them for spending on their learning.
Yeah.
We will do it for sure.
Are you seeing reward seeking behavior? Like, do people expect to get some kind of? Do you run a loyalty program?
So we do have, like, if you attend X number of sessions, and it does motivate you.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah.
And everyone likes it. I think I get super excited even I get something small for free because
that is true.
charged.
And that is the thing. Everyone likes a good deal. No one's leaving.
And they're all Indians.
Yeah. All right. All things remaining constant. Last rapid fire question. The one thing you think the Indian woman needs to do to change the status quo, which is on us, not on the ecosystem. The one thing we need to do.
I think basically like support each other and not judge others. I think women empowerment shouldn't be a world that we need to be like supporting one another and creating that. And I feel that is very less in India. I'm telling you from my experience, honestly. And I think if we can create that, we can create spaces that everyone is welcome without even judgment because we all are learning and growing, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is lacking and I really want to see that changing. We can build more women that, hey, everyone can come in and be all treated and learning and growing together.
Fantastic. So community.
Yeah. I was going to say community is huge for me and I've seen the power of community. Sisters and Sweat, whilst we're primarily a wellness sporting community, the kind of the fallout of that community supporting each other in sport or in raising their child or all of that, like the community is huge for women.
Yeah, I think we have to stop assuming that just because the way things are the way they are, they have to always stay that way. And so we have to kind of find our voice and start demanding stuff. What we need in the workplace, what we need for our health, what we need for our fitness, etc. And also start demanding it with our purses.
So speak out. Last very forward-looking question. I want to end with the big dream and the big goal and the big vision, I would say. But what is keeping you excited? What do you think we spoke about it briefly backstage in terms of, do you feel that the time is now? And what has changed that you believe that this is the right time to be building in each of your three spaces? And what are you most excited for about the future?
So I think, for the longest time, I feel like this is a BC and AD era before COVID.
Very well said, actually.
For the longest time, we had major headwinds. I mean, it was really like convincing companies and convincing women and convincing families that, women's careers are important was difficult all across. And I feel like that things have really shifted post the pandemic. Because one, families have realized they can't rely on only one breadwinner. Companies have realized that flexibility is not a bad F word, and women have realized that, oh my God, they need to also make money. So I feel like because of that, because women have woken up, companies will also, it's all economics at the end of the day, right? So companies have also woken up. that, oh, this is a great market now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like this is the time when we really need to push these tailwinds that we
Yeah.
are feeling
Yeah.
and build.
Yeah.
So my dream is, I mean, today we are, for example, we had 5 million women on the HerKey
Yeah.
platform. You know, I'm hoping in 5 years we'll be at 30 million women. Bigger dream is a huge number of those women will be actually paying for what they need for their careers.
I think, similar as well for me. Like, I've been in the fitness industry for 2 decades now.
Yeah.
And ever since I've started, I've seen this sort of upward trajectory for women's participation in their sort of fitness journey. Post-COVID, we saw a massive spike. And really now to see, the excitement around women in sport, women, taking care of their fitness. I think this is a golden era for us right now, and we should definitely take full advantage of it and make hay while the sun shines. So hopefully the sun shines for a long time.
I'm also, by the way, imagining a Netflix series for
Yeah.
like Court of Gold, where we'll have like your own gold quest.
Yeah, 250 women. Someone was like, you guys have 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5,000 women over in Bangalore want to play.
Yeah.
Now we're at 10,000.
I love it.
I mean, I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to get every woman in this country to work with us.
The big dream field.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think from the beginning, we've been working on the 3 major gaps in women's health. So the research, funding, and awareness. From last 2.5 years, almost, we've done everything, creating events, bringing awareness through our podcast, newsletter, trying to build that ecosystem, and then research part, of course, building these reports and all that. And I think now big question is that how to support companies and bring that funding element. So I think I'm really excited about, there are a lot of conversations are happening, which was not happening before. I personally connect with a lot of VCs. They are like, hey, connect me with your, portfolio companies. When we literally started, we had 20 companies on board. Now we had 250 companies on board with us. We've completed 14 projects into, market access, bringing the world's top leading companies like Europe's first FemTech unicorn, Flow Health, to India. So I think we are literally at the forefront now. I will also say this is the best time to build in India. If I would think 5 years back, someone like me, or 10 years back, non-tech, non-medical background, trying to build women's health, question would have been like, who are you? Why are you doing this? And I think I've been so grateful to kind of, being really, really passionate about that, what we are building, and like literally putting our head down and working on things. And I never thought I would be part of Gender Equity Alliance. That was never on my when we started the company. So I'm so grateful to leading this chapter with UNFPA, bringing more women in science, health, and tech. And it's just like, I think there's so much great stuff happening, to be honest. There's a huge support system through VCs, through founders, lot of cross-border, partnerships and access to really explore opportunities. So I think there never has been a better time to build for women, like for everyone, literally, right? Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And to each and every one of you, it's been amazing. More power to your communities. I think the beauty of today's conversation was in 3 distinct fields. We've all taken a community-led approach to the sisterhood getting bigger, brighter, stronger, and to women taking more like agency and ownership. And Neha, I hope they're also spending, speaking up more and taking care of our health, and everything is a priority. And I hope we get the balance right and make us all, like I said, bigger and brighter. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Anjali.
Thank you for having us.